Hello there, nobody in particular. My name's Navliir. Welcome back to the Forever World. Today, we're set to make another big addition to the world. But first, let's take a look at what we did in our last episode, starting with the beautiful marketplace that you can see behind me here. Welcome, welcome, one and all, but probably just Nav, to the Farmer's Market, the lively center of what eventually will be a lively village. The current setup employs 10 villagers, most masters of their respective crafts of farming and fishing. Here we have Fernando. Fernando has some major claims, convinced that he invented bread. He's wrong, but you can't tell him that. Next up, over here, we have Fernando. He's famous for growing a carrot so big that it crushed a rabbit, but according to sources familiar with the story, the rabbit had it coming. In the next stall over, we have Fernando. Fernando makes a habit of befriending beetroots at night and getting into heated arguments with them and his neighbors. This spicy meatball over here is Fernando. Fernando got into a little trouble recently trying to convince a wandering trader one of his llamas turned into a melon, but in reality, Fernando had stolen the llama and kept it hidden in his house. Now this funny guy over here is Fernando. Fernando once baked 5 stacks of potatoes for a party and then realized he forgot to invite anyone. So the cool kid over here is named Fernando. Fernando enjoys building hay bale forts and then throwing beetroots at Fernando. Now we come to the troublemaker of the marketplace, Fernando. Specifically, Bad Fernando. He knows what he did, and so do you if you caught the last stream. Right next door is Best Fernando. Why is he Best Fernando? Well, if you caught last stream, you know that too. Over here in the corner, we have our first fishing villager. His name is, oh yeah, it's Fernando. Fernando. He once claimed to have hooked the Ender Dragon, but released him once he realized he didn't have a bucket big enough to carry him home. And finally, over here, we have Fernando. Fernando, despite being a fisherman, often confuses this pond for a toilet. He's very close to being the new Bad Fernando. And that's our marketplace. Just having these few villagers here, who are here on their own volition, by the way, not against their will. They're very, very much here because they want to be, and they're happy to be here. They tell me all the time, even Bad Fernando. Having all these villagers here, I've been able to trade our pumpkins and melons for a bunch of golden carrots and a ton of emeralds. And take a look at that level down there, 58. We went from the low 40s to the high 50s just from trading with these guys. As you can see, I did eventually go with 2 fishermen villagers. I wasn't sure if I was going to do that. And the reason is I wanted this campfire trade. I do like building with campfires, and they're kind of annoying to get. But I didn't realize that not every fisherman will trade campfires. I'm looking at you, Fernando. Yeah, the one who pees in the pond. He does not. He does. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with you. I might set him free. I might set him free and replace it with something else. I'm not sure yet. But the farmer villagers are generally here to actually generate my emeralds. I will trade them pumpkin and melons for emeralds, and then occasionally buy some golden carrots. Speaking of pumpkins and melons, we can come down here to our pumpkin melon farm that we built last episode. We can take a look back here. Everything is still working perfectly, which is awesome. And it's been pretty productive, too. I come over every once in a while to combine the melon slices into actual melons. But this is how we're generating our emeralds right now. We're trading pumpkins and melons to our farmer villagers. And it's working really well. Also, I'm sure you all want an update on Jeff. Jeff is still screaming. It's been like 50 days. 50 days is like a lot to be screaming, but I assume he's doing it because it's what he loves. And who am I to get in the way of that? You can check out the villager breeder again that we built in episode 2. And the reason I want to do that is because I got it running again, trying to get more villagers in there. We have our 2 farmer villagers. This is Fernando, and this is Fernando. Yeah, Fernando. There's a lot of them. It's kind of hard to remember their names. But I have the breeder running because we're going to need a lot of villagers. Our plan for this episode is to build a librarian trading hall, which will also include cartographers. And for the first time, I think I'm going to try to get all the different librarian types, like all the different books. Which means I think I need like 42 different villagers. I have 2 villagers left over from when we were doing the marketplace over there. And these guys are cured, so they're definitely, one of them is definitely going to be a mending villager. But for the rest of them, I don't think I want to or have the ability to cure all of them. And we don't really need to, right? Once we have cartographers and librarians together, we have a way to generate infinite emeralds. So the way to get infinite emeralds using librarians and cartographers is librarians will sell you glass, and you can buy the glass and turn them into glass panes, and then sell the glass panes back to cartographers. And you create this loop of buying and selling glass. So we don't really have to worry about curing them all. I think we need to maybe set up this area to look a bit nicer. This was my staging area to get the farmer villagers. I got them in here and then sent them over to the marketplace. I think we should do something similar because the place that I want to build the librarian trading hall is not at this base. Remember, this base is our farming base. So the only things we're going to have at this base are things that have to do with farming. Librarians and cartographers are decidedly not farmers or fishermen, so they do not belong here in this village. So instead, I found a really cool place to build a really cool trading hall. So heading west outside of our base, we're going to pass through this valley between Bear Mountain on the right, which is the north, and the Emerald Hill in the south on the left. Continuing through this valley, we'll eventually build the road through here, the one that we started in front of our house, and it'll eventually lead to, well, our second base and to this new villager trading hall. If you've been watching my previous videos, you know that I've been using Bear Mountain as a source for iron, and that we're kind of running out of it. I can't find any more. And I mean, I got a few stacks of iron out of that place. So in order to continue using iron for like tools and for iron hoppers, I needed to find a new source. And I found this mountain range. I've been calling this mountain range the Crown because it kind of looks like a crown. And I've been coming through here, taking iron when I needed it. I'm trying not to take too much because eventually, soon, I want to have a fortune pickaxe. But I think this spot, which is actually quite close to our farmer base, is the perfect place for our librarian and cartographer trading hall. So the first thing I want to do to prepare to build our librarian / cartographer trading hall is set up how we're going to get the villagers over there. So we've come back to this hole here where I've staged the villagers in the past. And I think the plan is... All right, the plan is going to be to make this look nicer first. So let me get started on that. Nice. I think this actually looks pretty good. I think at some point, maybe during one of my streams, I'm going to fill this entire hole up, maybe up to like there with water to make this like a lake. And yeah, so when you're walking in, I think this is going to be leveled a bit more with the road coming in. You'll be able to see that there. I just wanted to, it didn't have to be beautiful, and it's not. It's pretty simple. Let's go in there and check it out. Yeah, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It mostly just has to be safe. So I'm going to do something with this eventually. Once we start getting the villagers in, we'll block this off somehow. We're going to need a lot more rails. But I think what I'm going to try to do is use the Nether to start moving villagers around. I'm not sure if we're always going to be using this villager breeder to get more villagers, because I have like 4 or 5 different bases planned. And I think at those places that I planned them at, there's actually villages nearby or right at them. So we might not have to do that, but just it's probably a good idea to have a way into the Nether for our villagers to move them around safely, maybe? Let's check out what we got going on here. And this is just, we're not far enough away from our actual portal. And we're also not wearing gold. So maybe that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad thing. Especially if we keep coming back through that one. I don't know how portals work like that. Yeah, so both of these portals are too close together. So they're going to the same portal in the Nether. That's not a big deal. That's fine. Now that I have some golden boots on, no one's going to attack me. And I wrote down some coordinates. -904, 121, and 379. And when you divide those coordinates by 8, you get these coordinates. So these coordinates are to a specific spot in the overworld where we're going to build our villager trading hall, our librarian trading hall, and these should be the coordinates within the Nether. Look, I did a thing. It's not a particularly pretty thing, but it's a kind of safe thing. I have this doorway that has a slab here, so most mobs can't get in. I think only like the baby variants of things can get in. But otherwise, you know, there's nothing spawning in here except for up there. Hold on a second. And just like that, there's nothing spawning in here, so it's going to be pretty safe to get the villagers through. I don't know. I've really never moved villagers through the Nether before, especially not, you know, not on the Nether roof, which I think is preferable. But let's just see how this goes. We'll just see how this goes. We have to find those other coordinates, which shouldn't be too far, and build another Nether portal. And I have my obsidian for that, and some cobblestone left over to make another tower shield box thing. I don't know. But we're going to negative 113.47. And that's actually really close. Okay, so I found negative 113.47. It's right here. Do you see that behind me? That's where we just came from. It's literally within view of the other Nether portal. That is amazing. That is great because I don't have much iron and I don't want to have to make a bunch of rails. All right, let's first see how we did. Hopefully it's not night. Cool. It's not night. And yeah, this is where I wanted it. I think this is exactly what we wanted. Let's look at free cam. Yep, this is the crown. And I think we want to build it right up here. So I think we did good. All right, so this is what I came up with. I don't know if this is overkill. I don't know. I don't even know who's going to try to attack villagers. I have very little knowledge on this subject, so we're just kind of testing it out. I use pretty much the remainder of my cobblestone to do this, which is not ideal. But, you know, I guess it's better to be safe than sorry. If I really wanted to be safe, I would block off these as well. Do I have any more cobblestone left, actually? But yeah, the villagers should be able to come down here in a minecart, and it just gets pushed around. I have not tested this out, but I think just having these few, 1, 2, 3, I think, 3 different sections of powered rails, of 3 power rails, should be enough. Like, I'm not going very far. And they should just, like, drive directly in there, I think. Should be simple. On the other side of the Nether portal here, at the crown, I just made a quick little box that I'll probably close this off. It's night now. Oh, man. But yeah, so when the villagers come through, honestly, this is going to be a big process of me figuring out what works best. And I'm honestly probably going to move the villagers during a stream, maybe? I don't think we're going to get to it at this video, but we set everything up that we need to set up in this video, so that's good. The other thing I could do while we're over here is maybe just lay down these chests. This will be our new chest monster. Back at the base, I think the next thing we want to do is start gathering the resources that we have that I know we're going to need. I actually use light matica for this one, which I don't typically do. So here's the material list that we're going to need. And there's a fair amount of stuff for our cobble deep slate. We're going to need around 11 stacks of that. And pale oak, we need around 9. Regular deep slate. So this is the thing that was a little... I didn't want to do, but I do like the way how it ends up looking. We don't have silk touch. So we're going to have to get another 8 stacks of cobble deep slate and then smelt them. And we're going to have to do something similar, well, the same thing with the stone. But I'm going to go and just see how much of all these things that I already have and try to collect it. And I will be back once I figure out where we're at and what we'll need. Okay, I'm back here at the chest monster, right here by the crown. And what I've done is I've actually filled up these chests with the things that I think we're going to need. What I did was, like, we'll use the tuff, for example. This first row of tuff, this is how much tuff I need. That's just regular tuff. And then I think I need, like, 4 stacks of polished tuff, maybe 3 stacks of polished tuff stairs. So I figured that I need to collect all of this stuff anyway. So this is the minimum amount of tuff that I have to collect. I have to fill all these up as stacks. So it's going to take some time. Oh, and this is gonna be rough. I think I might actually have enough mud to do everything that I need. So you know what comes next. It's time for some resource gathering. So I decided to start in the mines. I have a small mine that I created right next to the ancient city because that's pretty close to our base. And I figured I can collect materials while my farms were still running because we're kind of right underneath it. And I found tuff right away. And I always find diamonds near tuff. I don't know if that's an actual thing or if it's just like I'm lucky, but yeah, I actually found a lot of diamonds gathering all these different resources. Once I gathered all the tuff that I needed, I came back down and collected a bunch of deep slate and, again, found a lot of diamonds. Because we don't have silk touch, I actually have to gather it all as cobbled deep slate and then smelt it later on, which is not great, but hey, I'm getting a lot of diamonds out of this. On the way out of the mines, I gathered a bunch of dripstone. I think I actually gathered more than I needed, but I love dripstone, so I'm glad to take as much as I can. The next thing on the list required us to go into the Nether, and luckily we have this basalt delta biome right next to our Nether portal because we needed like 4 stacks of blackstone. With all the fun stuff out of the way, we traveled to the dark oak forest to collect a bunch of leaves. Then we went next door to the pale oak forest to gather just a few more stacks of the pale oak logs, a bunch of its leaves, and then some pale moss. On the way back, we ran into this drowned with a trident, and he did not drop the trident, which is pretty typical. Last thing on the list is something I didn't really have much of. I had 2 glow lichen, and I needed like 3 stacks of it. I thought about making a farm for it, but it's actually really easy to just collect this way. And if you liked the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay. Do you like my wall of furnaces? I actually stole some furnaces from inside our base and, you know, the ones on the floor in the kitchen, because I figured I should just have a fair amount of them. Because what we have to do is take all of this like cobble deep slate, and I think it's this row of cobble deep slate. This all has to be converted to just regular deep slate. And yeah, that much cobblestone, I think. Maybe all this cobblestone has to be... Yeah, it has to be regular stone, so we do have to smelt it. Okay, it might have been overkill for all those furnaces, but it's fine. But I have my little station set up here. We have our crafting table and the best block in the game, the stone cutter. We have another bed over here, the furnaces, all the different resources. And I was like kind of dreading having to do this, but I actually did not need that much stuff. Like, it only took me like, I guess the deep slate took me the longest, but maybe like 4 hours in total to get everything. And I was running all over the place. So maybe if I had like shulker boxes, it would have been even less. But with that, I think we're all ready to go. I've been procrastinating this week because, well, first of all, it's kind of part of my personality, but also because I just did not want to have to collect those resources. And now that it's done, I think we're ready to do this. I think it's time to start building our librarian and cartographer trading hall tower. Welcome back from the time lapse. I hope you enjoyed it. I am in a box. And right outside the box is our awesome tower. This is the first time I haven't looked at it from down here yet. I love this. I think this looks really good. It's really simple, right? Like I don't typically build things that are so flat, but I really like the gradient. I think it really works. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. So we're gonna come back maybe next stream, next episode. We're gonna do some terraforming around here to get in and maybe put a door here. But look how cool it looks on the inside. I made these little like statue guys holding lanterns, and it looks like they're holding up this pillar, which is holding up the first floor here. And I really like the way this turned out. I love Tuff. Tuff might be one of my favorite blocks in the game. So I made this kind of strange. I wanted to have water in here. I don't know why. I just kind of pictured it like this, and I designed like the first few designs I made always had a tree in it, and I wanted to keep this tree. And I don't know if you can tell it's a tree, right? Like it looks like a tree, right? I'm never one to really feel good about my custom trees, but I do like the way this turned out. So when you enter in, we'll enter through a doorway. We might make this bigger in the future, and you just have to jump across the water over here. You come in over here, and you have like this spiral staircase that comes up to the first floor. And then the staircase kind of changed. I do like the way the stairway works. It's a little bit different, but you're able to get to every floor, and like the floors are not like, level. Like you start down there, you come up one block, and then you go up two. So every floor has like a width of like 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3. So I like that. I think it makes it really interesting. And this is a villager trader hall, right? So we need stalls for our traders. So for the first, second, and third floor, they're all going to be librarian villagers. And I think these look really cool. I left these spaces open right now. We're going to put bookshelves in here and the empty bookcases and maybe looms, whatever, some sort of decoration in each of these empty areas over here, just to give it a little bit of color and life, I guess. Although I feel like there's plenty of life here. The leaves falling down is a nice touch. You can keep working your way up. And like I said, you get to every single floor. All the way up the top, we come to another like villager stall section, but these are going to be our cartographer villagers. I figured it makes sense putting them at the top, but I didn't give them any like windows to look out, so maybe we'll do that too. But yeah, our cartographers will be up here. And again, I really like the way the tree came out. I do like the leaves. We mixed in pale oak leaves with dark oak leaves. And I don't know, I think it works. All the way over here, I plan on putting an enchantment table once we start getting some bookshelves by trading. I think it's time we're going to get all of our books and bookshelves. We have 2 cured villagers right now, and it might make the most sense to make sure they trade bookshelves so that we can actually start making lecterns and getting books. But yeah, this is the build. I hope you guys like it. It took a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of design. We actually designed it on one of my streams. So if you're interested in catching it in my streams, make sure you join my Discord and you follow me on Twitch. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. But that's it. That's all there is to it. I really like this build. But that's the end. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.